To all of you. Today, KMA is organizing the 39th program in this calendar year of Kerala Management Association. And today we have none other than Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of BSE Limited. BSE Limited was established in 1875 and was formerly known as the Bombay Stock Exchange Limited. It is Asia's first stock exchange and one of India's leading exchange groups and has played a prominent role in developing the Indian capital market. And today we have none other than Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy talking about India's growth story, the next chapter, and the BSE's role. Let us commence the function with invoking the blessings from the Almighty. And may I request our past President, Dr. Nirmala Lily, to invoke the blessings of Almighty.
Lokam muruvan sukham pagaranai sneha deepame miri turakku lokam muruvan sukham pagaranai sneha deepame തുറക്കൂ കദന നിവാരണ കനിവിന്നുറവേ കാട്ടിൻ നടുവിൽ വഴി തെളിക്കൂ ലോകം മുഴുവൻ സുഖം പകരാനായി സ്നേഹദീപമേ മിഴി തുറക്കൂ.
Thank you, Past President Dr. Nirmala. And now to welcome the August gathering and to introduce the speaker, we have our Vice President and Program Committee Chair, Mr. Aljiz Khalid. Over to you, sir.
Esteemed Chief Guest, Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy, Managing Director and CEO of BSE Limited, our President, Mr. Nuran, and Managing Committee Member, who is officiating as Secretary today, Mr. A.C.K. Nair, past Presidents, Managing Committee Members, invited guests, members of KMA, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to everyone. It is with great enthusiasm that I welcome you all to this special Leader Insight session. This is the 39th program of current KMA year. Today, we convene not just as professionals, but as forward-thinking leaders dedicated to understanding and shaping the promising future of our vibrant nation. The theme for today's session, India's growth story, the next chapter and BSE's role, comes at a particularly auspicious time. We find ourselves at the cusp of another transformative period in our economy, characterized by resilience, innovation, and strategic growth. As we have observed, India continues to shine as a beacon of hope in the global economic landscape, with IMF projecting that we will be the fastest growing major economy. Our collective efforts will undoubtedly pave the way for unprecedented opportunities and advancements. Integral to this narrative of growth is the Bombay Stock Exchange, known as BSE now. The formation of BSE began in the mid-19th century, when the stockbrokers would informally trade stocks under the banyan tree on Bombay's Dalal Street. Over the years, the need for a regulated and organized trading platform became prominent and as a result, BSE was formed, established in Bombay in 1875. 81 years after its establishment and 9 years after India gained independence, BSE was recognized as the first stock exchange in the country under the Securities Contract Regulation Act of 1956. Today, BSE stands as Asia's largest and oldest stock exchange, serving as a crucial platform for trading various financial instruments. Comprised of some of the most actively traded and liquid stocks, the BSE Sensex has become the benchmark index in the country, significantly impacting the Indian economy. It serves as a barometer of India's financial performance and reflects the health of our overall country. Over the years, BSE has introduced several new products and services, including currency trading, debt, equity, mutual fund, and investment banking. BSE has played a vital role in the country's economic development through its efficient trading systems, robust technology infrastructure, and high standards of accountability and transparency. It is in this context that we are honored to invite our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy, the Managing Director and CEO of BSE Limited. Mr. Ramamurthy joined BSE in January 2023 and has since been instrumental in leading the exchange strategy, product advancement, regulatory relationships, and business development activities. His extensive experience in the financial service sector spans over 2 decades, including significant roles at the National Stock Exchange and Bank of America. Prior to joining BSE, he served as the Managing Director and Chief Operating Officer of the Indian arm of Bank of America, where he oversaw global governance and control of the banking entity and the security segment. Notably, Mr. Ramamurthy's 20-year tenure at NSE includes hands-on involvement in the exchange significant transformation, managing key facets such as derivatives, indexes, and data businesses, while also running its clearing corporation. He began his illustrious career with leading banks including IDBI, State Bank of India, and Indian Overseas Bank. Due to his exceptional role in turning around BSE, Mr. Ramamurthy has received several prestigious awards, including the Outstanding CEO of the Year in the Capital Market in 2023 and the Asian Business Leader of the Year 2023. Under his leadership, BSE has also won Esteemed Champion of the Capital Market Innovation and Efficiency Asia 2024 Award from the Capital Finance International United Kingdom. Mr. Ramamurthy is a cost accountant and a member of the Indian Institute of Bankers, as well as holding a Bachelor of Science degree. His qualifications and remarkable record of leadership make him a driving force in the continual evolution of BSE and instrumental in steering the Indian capital market towards a prosperous future. As we listen to Mr. Ramamurthy today, we eagerly anticipate gaining invaluable insights into how BSE envisioned its role in India's growth story. We look forward to engaging in rich discussions about the rapidly evolving financial landscape and the critical intersection of technology and market development. I am confident that his insights will ignite inspiration and provoke thought among us and deliberate on how we can collectively contribute to shaping the next chapter of India's remarkable growth journey. So without much further ado, please join me in extending heartfelt welcome to our chief guest, Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy, with a loud applause. We are all eager to hear Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy on India's growth story, the next chapter, and BSE's role. So ladies and gentlemen, once again a hearty welcome to all of you. On that note, let me now invite President of Kerala Management Association, Mr. Bibu Punuran, to share his thoughts. Over to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Alajis Khalid, Vice President and Program Committee Chair of Kerala Management Association. May I now invite Mr. Bibu Punaran, President, Kerala Management Association, for his presidential address.
Chief guest of the day, Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy, Vice President and Program Committee Chair, Mr. Alajis Khalid, Managing Committee Member, Mr. A.C.K. Nair, past Presidents of KMA, Managing Committee Members, invited guests, warm good evening, good morning to all of you. It is not every day that we get to hear the Managing Director and CEO of the BSE speak to us in person. So, in fact, I consider this a very lucky day for KMA and all of us, this exclusive crowd, invited crowd who has joined us this morning to listen to this download. Today's topic is India's growth story, the next chapter, and BSE's role. Of course, BSE's role, I'm sure that Mr. Ramamurthy will explain to us in detail. But there is one thing that I can say, the next century could be India's if we steer our country properly. There is a history to India's economy. Before the British rule in India, the GDP of India was 25 to 35%, hovering around 25 to 35% of the world's GDP, which was then higher than Europe's combined GDP at that point of time. And we were one of the largest economies in the world at that point of time. By the time the British left India, this dropped down to just 4% of the world's GDP. So that was our up and that was our down. And now the next century should definitely belong to India for very many reasons. As all economists and the world has projected, we are one of the fastest growing major economies in the world today, and we are poised to become the world's third largest economy by the year 2035, that is 10 years from now. Actually, I think we have already reached more or less that stage, but then there is a big, huge gap between us and the second largest economy, which is China right now. This is actually driven by various factors. One is strong domestic consumption and private investment and a growing middle class with a GDP of around 6.5 to 8% annually is our growth rate. And we could become a 19 trillion economy, $10 trillion economy by the year 2047. The biggest thing about India right now is that we have one of the youngest populations in the world, and our current population, our current average age is around just 27.2. And what was once considered a burden for India, the population, is now becoming our strength. Now, coming to companies and investment, 1 in every 5 companies that are publicly traded from 2012 to 2022 have doubled their revenues and could quadruple it in the next 10 years. So that is another growth factor that could drive India. This, of course, has got a lot of impetus because the government's thrust in the Make in India policies and the government's thrust on giving a lot of importance for innovation and the government's thrust in promoting the startup culture in India has given India a huge, huge boost. And combined with that, on the financial side, if you look at the Aadhaar that has come in and the UPI, wherein the currency notes are slowly becoming redundant and all of us are dependent more on the electronic money transfer, all this contributes basically to India's growth story. And another major factor that could probably uplift India into the future is that, as we all know, the rural population of India is dependent upon agriculture, and there's a lot of innovation taking place in the agricultural economy. And with a lot of innovations in that sector, we could contribute about 600 billion to India's GDP from the agricultural sector. Needless to say, the financial sector is growing in rapid paces with lots of investments coming in. And again, our population could be our strength in the health sector, because the kind of huge data that would come in, the clinical development trials that can take place because of that, and India being one of the cheapest healthcare destinations with world-class facilities, can also play a major role in the years to come. And let us not forget that we have a large talent pool now based in India itself. And personally, I feel that there is, with the kind of leadership that is happening across the world in the developed countries, and people being asked to go back to their native countries and all that, the reverse brain drain that once was drained out of India would come back to our country, and we could benefit a lot from that too. Now, as president of KMA, and I know that there are many of you who are not members of KMA, I would like to just give you a brief about what KMA is, because I invite you all to become members of KMA. KMA, the Kerala Management Association, is one of the oldest management associations in the country. We are a 67-year-old management association, and we are part of the founding members of the All India Management Association based out of Delhi. And this year in KMA, we have, every week we have a leader insight topic every week happening on every Friday at the Management House in Panambali Nagar. We also have Inspire series talk by somebody who can inspire our YM members, or our Young Minds, which is a youth wing that has been started by KMA this year. And we have close to 2,000 individual members and over 300 corporates as our members. We also have student members from various B schools. So I would urge all of you to come into KMA, and we also have several awards from KMA for ESG and best performing companies and many more. With all this, I would say that KMA is one of the greatest institutions for those members or people who are here who are non-members to join KMA. Once again, I thank you all for coming and joining us in this Leader Insight session today morning. And we look forward to hearing from the great stalwart of the Stock Exchange of India, our chief guest, Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, President Mr. Bipu Punula. Now may I invite our chief guest for his keynote address, Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, BSE Limited.
Namaskar. Apologies for coming around 5 to 7 minutes late. I feel greatly overwhelmed and happy to be standing in front of all of you today and having this opportunity to communicate to you. I want to thank Kerala Management Association, Mr. C.J. George, who made this happen. My pleasure comes because, as the President said, KMA is a very strong and long-standing organization who had played a pivotal and pioneer role in setting up AAMA. These type of associations help in fostering knowledge and growth of the country. The topic given to me is India's growth story, next chapter. That means there should be a previous chapter. So what was the previous chapter? How was it? After enjoying Digi Yatra experience, if you have to stand outside the airport, do you like it? And do you even remember that you used to stand for 30 minutes outside the airport? No. So, but many times to remember the previous chapter is very important, so that it keeps us at the ground and helps us to go forward. If things go to our head, it becomes very heavy. Heavy-headeds are clouded. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, Krodha bhavati sammohaha, sammoha smriti vibhramaha, smriti bhramshat buddhi nasho. Then after that, buddhi nashat pranashati. So nothing should go to our head. We have to remain grounded. So let us see in a glimpse what the previous chapter was. When I was a young boy, the India I remember is this. Typical households. The main goal is to get up early in the morning to get a bottle of milk, because that in itself was a big thing. After that, to fetch 2 pots of water, because you have to walk for getting water and bring them back, drinking water. And then rush to the school to come back. Then go again, stand in the queue for evening bottle of milk. Saturday, Sunday is very important days. You have to go to the ration shop to buy 5 kgs or 10 kgs of rice. If you are a rice eater, you get 10 kg of rice and 5 kg of wheat, vice versa. 2 kgs of palm oil, 5 liters of kerosene, 425 grams of sugar per person per household. As luck would have it, be it in a cinema theatre or in the ration shop, when you go to the counter will not have the ticket, or the counter will not have sugar. Better luck next time. Standing in queues was part of everyday life for everything. It may be hot sun above you, you may not have slippers in your foot. That's life. It may be Chennai with 40 degrees Celsius, get used to it. Slightly, the earlier chapter was even worse. No rice at ration shop. The rice was not manufactured in India. It was imported from Burma. It used to be this big and it may get cooked. You want to construct a house? Yes, you will get cement, 30 rupees per bag. There is a quota. A permit will be given. To get that permit, you have to pay. Why don't you manufacture more cement? Require license. Who will get license? Can't say. When will you get license? Can't say. That was day-to-day living. Let us come to stock market. BSE itself is 150-year-old. Oldest stock market in Asia. What was the stock market? Previous chapter. 20 plus stock exchanges, 7,000 scrips, scattered across the country, very little liquidity, very less participation. A very small number of hours in a day for trading, What is trading? Buying or selling. If you buy what you should get the shares. If you sell what you should get the money. So when will you get? So I used to very jocularly say T plus E anytime if it happens. Why? It may not happen at all. Somebody will say, no, this settlement is merged with the next settlement, so there is no settlement this time, or it is cancelled. Believe me, none of this is exaggeration. And only equities market. So let us look at the next chapter of stock market first. What has been the next chapter? Main two exchanges, 5,000 plus companies, longer trading hours, greater liquidity. Some new animal called foreign participants have come in. Compared to 18 mutual funds with a very few schemes, today you have 40 plus mutual funds with a lot of schemes. There is a clarity on settlement. There is something called as investor protection. There is a regulator available today. There are regulations available today. And stock trading clearly moved away from stock exchanges. It used to be happening in the middle hall of a stock exchange. People used to go inside, buy and sell and shop. There is one TV serial, there is one OTT serial available on Harshad Mehta. A sort of a semblance of a trading hall is given there. Some of you should watch it if you are interested in knowing what the previous chapter was. A lot of paper used to be littered on the ground. I had an opportunity as a student to visit Madras Stock Exchange. I found a lot of papers down. I asked somebody, why so much of paper? No, got the paper right, they throw it, it happens. So today we are not talking that way. The trading moved from the stock exchanges to the broker's office, and broker's office by way of an application to the customer's laptop. Now it is in customer's pocket. Probably a day will come in the next chapter where the investor will think, sell ABCD shares, and probably it will happen. Or voice enabled can happen. Now people are telling mobiles will be replaced with glasses. You wear the glass, everything can be done. I'm not sure whether many of you have seen. Mobiles will get replaced in the time to come is what is the thought process which has already started with smart glasses. We are already talking of something called as AI. Everybody is now talking. The vegetable vendor also tells AI. Whether he understands or not is a different thing. Things have moved, that's for sure. Moved in a big way, in a big irreversible way. But what was true in the past need not necessarily be true in future. As our president observed, before British rule, you contributed to 25% of the GDP. That did not continue to be true. We are a very wealthy country. We have a huge amount of wealth. Wealth in the form of knowledge, climate, vegetation, capabilities, ideas, survival instincts, age. You take anything, we are very good. So where are we today? What we should go to the next chapter. Every one of us has a role to play in it. It is mentioned that India is 5th largest economy. Already we are trying to become the 3rd largest, trying to grow much more bigger than Japan and Germany. The gap between the number 2 that would be and us. On an average, from 1991, India has been growing at a rate of 7%. It's not a simple number. We all know by the rule of 72. That means 7% in every 10 years the economy would have doubled. But today we are talking about a 30 trillion economy by 2047. What would be the key driver for it? What are the pitfalls? What we should be careful about? Because we just a few minutes before said, what happened? There is no necessity to continue to happen. I was giving this example in the morning to somebody. Most of us, because of law of physics, try to see in straight lines. And we think life is simple, that everything works on statistics. So let us assume a statistician in his rebirth was born as a turkey. Turkey is a bird. And on Thanksgiving Day or something, people have turkey as the food in some part of the world. The statistician who was reborn as a turkey, is still having all the knowledge of statistics in his mind, goes to an American household. Why? They bought him to feed him and fatten him so that they can have him on Thanksgiving Day. Every day at 8 o'clock in the morning, American Eastern time, he is getting food full of nourishment. So he starts making noting of it. 8, 801, 802, 7.59 and all. Then he puts a frequency distribution. Then he estimates what is the probability of he getting food at 8 o'clock the next day morning. He will come and tell you the probability is very high, 95%. But what happens the next day? Actually, instead of he getting food, he has become food. He is on the breakfast table or a dinner table. So nothing what happened need to necessarily repeat itself. Yes, we are a young, old civilization with very young people. The population bane has become a population boom, and your median age is 28 years. And there's a good amount of urbanization happening. 35% of India's population were residing in urban areas, and it is projected to raise to 47% by 2050. This place, God's own land, has already a very urbanized setup. Around 48% of Kerala is in urban part of the definition. A mention was made of middle class. Middle class is expected to account for 46% by 2030 and a whopping 60% by 2047. Before COVID and after COVID, if you look at the number of investors, they have become 4 times. If you look at the delta and see where they are coming from, 60% of them are coming from Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, not from Tier 1 cities. The rate of growth of number of investors in the top 30 cities, if you look at it, surpasses in a big way to the major metros like Chennai. Chennai, of course, growth rate has been poor in terms of investors. Mumbai, Calcutta and Delhi. Delhi grows very fast. Even much more than that is the increase is growing in the other sectors. India's exports have risen in a big way. multiple factors, if you look at it, they have been growing in a big way. So then automatically will you grow? Will you be able to achieve whatever you have achieved all along? Yes and no. Yes, why? You have all the ingredients. No, why? If you just keep your hands over your hands and sit in a corner, it's not going to happen. So then what you should do? What will make you reach heights? So, few months before, in a very coveted stadiums in Mumbai, with a very coveted speaker, I was sharing a dais for speaking almost on similar subject. India at 100 was the topic. Before the meeting, the other speaker asked me, tell me, what do you think will be India's GDP by 2047? I thought I am being asked a very simple question because Niti Aayog has published it. I said, yeah, I read somewhere it's going to be around 30 trillion. It's a great thing. I thought he'll be happy that I am well informed. I am reading something from Niti Aayog also, apart from SEBI circulars. But man got very angry. He was red on his face. I know you people don't read anything. I sent you a copy of my book. It's very evident you have not read it. I asked him, what is it about? Yes, I have not read. Apologies. What is it about? India will become a 50 trillion economy by 2047. Minimum. I said, how? Simple mathematics, Sundar, let me explain. 8% is the real GDP growth rate. It will happen. Our inflation will be cut at 5%. 8 plus 5, 13% nominal growth rate. Currency depreciation. Though you will be thinking it will be 2%, 2.5%, I think it will be only 1% for various reasons. So 13 minus 1, 12. 12% growth rate, rule of 72. Every 6 years I should double. There are 24 years to 2047 at the time when he wrote the book. So 24 divided by 6, 4. So 2 power 4 is equal to 16. 16 into current GDP, which is 3.5 trillion. Simple. Simple mathematics. It will be 50 trillion. So glad to hear, right? Can it happen? Again, yes and no. So how to address the no part? What is the base because of which this can happen? There should be ample capital formation. There should be ample industrialization. There should be good amount of employment generation, income earning, consumption, saving, investments back to capital formation. If this does not happen, the dream will not come true. Exactly that's what the Indian finance minister in her budget talked about. And that's what she has concentrated upon. Capital formation, ease of doing business, government spending. That was one part of it. Government alone cannot, that too central government alone cannot contribute for capital formation. Private and also state governments need to contribute. That separately the chief economic advisor talked about. Employment generation, all those industries which are employment intensive like tourism, leather and whatnot, shipbreaking and shipbuilding, they have been given impetus to generate employment. Consumption. 1 lakh crores has been put into all our pockets so that we can spend more and keep the wheels changing. But who will be doing all this? Who will be the people who will be involved in this? Nicely, the finance minister talked about a point called Gyan, G-Y-A-N. No, I'm not talking about the Sanskrit word Gyan. G refers to Garib, that is the poor. Y refers to Yuva, that is the youth. A refers to Annadata, that is the farmer, and N refers to Nari. For employment generation, SMEs are also very important. So for the 8th consecutive time in her 8th consecutive budget, she talked about SMEs in a big way. Garib, Yuva, Annadata and Nari. So here is where in the next chapter BSE's role begins. With a 150-year-old history, when I took over 2 years before, BSE's market share had come down just to 5% in equities market, with no presence in equity derivatives, some volumes with lot of problems in the mutual fund segment which it had, and some small amounts in currency derivatives. Currency derivatives went away thanks to a regulatory change. With this type of a small presence, what difference I can make? I can't make much difference. So the goal with which we took the challenge was to make BSE vibrant. We first changed our logo. People ask me why this new logo. I had to explain them. Panchabhut, the equilibrium hai mera logo mein. So that will make my company flourish. There is a torch there. There is a glowing lamp. The lamp is looking upwards. I will become vibrant. What you want is what you get, provided you work towards it. We got it. We made BSE vibrant and relevant. We improved the market share in equities. We introduced equity derivatives segment. We became the fastest growing exchange of the world as termed by Futures and Industry Association, which is a globally renowned association. We are having around 25% of the total premiums that get traded in the country today, in a very short span. The next year we decided we should deepen and broaden our market. That should be our goal. From 8 brokers who are accessing our system for equity derivatives, I can proudly tell you we have taken it up to 500 brokers. From 0 FPIs, foreign participants with us, today we have 250 participants. From no investors, we have a meaningful investor base. From nobody using our data center, we have around 200 racks fully occupied now. These are all beginning. So the first year goal of vibrancy will continue. The second year's goal of deepening and broadening of markets, already we have brought in a lot of products into the market, which is good for the market, which they act as complementary products. They don't compete with anybody. So that will also continue. What is this year's motto, goal, strategy? Customer delight. Why am I telling all this? They have a lot of relevance to the next chapter, goal of India, where we want to concentrate on Yuva and Nari and SME. The third year, our goal is customer delight. Customers are internal and external. The regulators, shareholders, brokers, board members, investors, listing companies, all are customers in some way or the other. Every one of them have a touch point. Is your touch point a pain point or a pleasure point? Every employee should ask this question. If it is a pleasure point, how to make it even more pleasurable? If it is okay, how to make it good? If it is not okay, how to make it okay? If it is irrelevant, why to have it? You should remove it. It's a wasteful process. Why we should do it? What is its relevance to India's next chapter? Beware. There is no local competition. Markets are global. President mentioned about reverse flow happening. If the reverse flows to India has to happen in a big way, India has to become a competitive market. Significant outflow to GCC countries have happened. Singapore has happened. In US and UK, how much of the real estate property is owned by Indians? Please go and check. Good amount of capital, both knowledge and financial, has gone to outside countries. It has been going for a long time. Right from the Kohinoor diamond and Tipu Sultan's lion head on his throne, everything is occupying some other countries' museums, not space in your museum. Those days onwards till day, there has been lot of financial drain and knowledge drain. If you have to revert and if you have to make it, then you are not talking of any local competition, you are talking of global competition. So customer delight is prime for getting into the next chapter. When you talk of customers as global, you will think about global practices and where do you stand, and then you will be making yourself so good that you are globally competitive to take care of any headwinds that will come in your way. For that, we require a lot of infrastructure building. Infrastructure would tantamount to physical infrastructure, knowledge as infrastructure, employee attitude as infrastructure. Knowledge is a short-term advantage. To get a job, you require a qualification, knowledge, short-term advantage. To grow in the job, to get promoted, to become the head, you should have the right attitude. Attitude is the long-term advantage. How do you create an attitude infrastructure in your company? That's very important. That we call as culture. What should be the culture? That is the next infrastructure. Technology is a major infrastructure. We have clearly outlined what we will do in every one of them. We have a clear action plan for today, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. Beyond that, nobody knows. It's God's kindness. Very long term, nobody knows. The next important thing, how do you ensure that Yuva and Nari contribute to the next chapter of India? A very young population, 28 years as the median age, 60% in income earning age from 18 to 60. Significant portion of women in this population. Too many budding women entrepreneurs in the country. Kerala is a big example for it. How do you take care of them? What you should take care of them? Think of this. I always tell this. You look at a TV advertisement. If it is making an investment, buying a car, riding a bike, or enjoying a cold drink, it will be a man. If it is telling a man to buy what oil brand should be bought, what butter should be bought, what coffee brand should be bought, what milk should be bought, it will be a woman. She'll be talking about changing diapers, he'll be talking about investments. Culturally, we have been thinking that women will do all this, men will invest. Is that correct? Is it any longer true? Not necessarily. We have to change our thought process. Few years before, I met somebody who is occupying a very big position in UN. I talked about women empowerment. She said, you know what, Mr. Sundar? I earn money. I'm financially independent, but my investments are managed by my husband. I said, that's incorrect. You should know how to manage your financial investments. If you make your husband your manager, then you should still be the owner. You should discuss with him what he is investing so that he understands something from you, you understand something from him. That cultural shift, we have to ensure it happens. But why we should do it? It's division of labor, right? If women are good in telling you what is the oil brand that you should buy, let them continue to do. You are God's gift to humankind and you have a bigger brain. You will know how to invest. You continue to invest. No. Statistics has proved that women are capable in investing in stable investments. And men get emotional when they start investing. That's a problem with the part of the brain which becomes active. That is genetic. Both should be required. There should be some serpentine brain, there should be some stability brain. So that is why it cannot be any longer one gender will specialize in investment, another gender will be looking at cooking oil. It doesn't work. At least for the India's next chapter. So how do you empower Nari? Talk to places where there are congregation of women and teach them how to look at investments and market. Yuva. That will include both men and women, because these days colleges are co-eds, both you get boys and girls in a college. So we have decided that if we get any opportunity from any college where we are invited to come and talk to them about markets and what the boys should think about future of India, we immediately rush there. We are ready to talk to them. We are ready to guide them. We are not telling trade in Sensex options, trade in this nifty stuff, trade in this stock. That's not what we talk. What we are talking now, that's what we talk. Your country, Mahan. You can do a lot of things. You can grow. Think of channelizing your investments and your mental process. Come into the financialization of household savings. You will contribute for the economy. You can contribute. When you contribute, please be careful. Trade what you understand what you trade. Don't trade because your neighbor told you to buy a stock. Why? Because his friend's mother-in-law's, grandmother's, father's friend told him to invest. No, please don't do it. Tips work only in hotel industry, not in stock market. These have to be taught to the youth. You want to invest, why don't you try a large cap mutual fund? Why don't you start looking at stock analysis, identify good stocks and then put money? Don't get carried away. What is found difficult to believe should not be believed. So that is the next thing that we are doing. Last but not the least is SME. Around 1.5 million engineering graduates come out of the colleges every year. In US, the employability percentage of graduates coming out of top institutions within a period of 6 months from the time they came used to be 90%. There itself it has fallen to 70%. A country which can freely print currency, because the currency that it is printing is completely in demand across the world, as that has been forcibly or whichever way made the medium of transactions. That this is a situation. In your country, when millions of engineering and management graduates are coming out of top and not so top institutions, what is the percentage of employability of them? Not within 6 months, even within 1 year. Very small percent. Max it comes to 20%. So what do the remaining 80% does? What job they will get? After being engineering graduates, should they become Ola drivers and Uber drivers? I'm not saying that it's a wrong profession, but that is not in any way connected with their studies, the knowledge that they gained. So how you and I are going to help in these people contributing for India's next chapter? They have to be skilled. If you are an entrepreneur, take upon yourself the job of finding 5 engineering graduates and 5 management graduates every year. Groom them, skill them. Teach them fishing so that they can go and fish. Don't give them a fish. Once you skill them, they will have startups. So many startups are coming up in this country, which you are aware of, right? When startups comes, they will blossom into SMEs. There are 6 crore SMEs in this country. How many of them are listed? 1,000. How many of them are having banking facility? How many of them are in a position to get loans? Answer is evident. Clearly, therefore, it's time for us to encourage these companies. All of them may not be able to get jobs. All of them may not be able to get finance. What you can help is entire 6 crores? No. 60 lakhs? No. 6 lakhs? No. At least 60,000? Can they get listed? Can they come to the main arena, main source where they can make money and help in the contribution of Indian economy's growth? Answer is yes. So every one of us should see how we can facilitate more and more SMEs come to the mainstream. For me, this year the takeaway for me and what I want to work upon, what we are working upon is Nari, Yuva, facilitating SMEs, tying up in helping people to come to the mainstream, whichever way we can contribute, and requesting entrepreneurs to take upon themselves the job of skilling some few people every year, like adoption of children, adoption of villages, adoption of graduates, to make them skilled. If we do that, I don't think it's a distant dream that we will be the second largest economy, not third. It will not be a distant dream for me to achieve the 50 trillion number that we talked about. India is in another golden period now. We have talked about golden age of Guptas, golden age of Mauryas, and we have seen gold a lot in Kerala particularly, which has come from Rome and stacked in temples. We have seen a lot of gold. One another gold is waiting for us. That is the golden era of India reaching its Viksit Bharat status by 2047. With this, I would like to thank you all for having me in front of you. I am not a stalwart as was projected. I am a common man like you. You and I have the same aspiration. We want our country to flourish. We want everybody around us to flourish along with us. With that aspiration, I thought I shared my views with you. Thanks for your patient hearing, and I am happy to take any questions and answers if there is time permitted for it. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insightful words of wisdom. There were lots of takeaways from this session, and now it's time for the Q&A. Those who would like to ask questions to Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy may kindly do so. There will be mics being passed around. Please utilize them.
Ramurthy, we have seen a steady outflow of funds from India through the FIIs. Is that anything to do with the transparency we are asking them to have?
Outflow of funds from India is not any recent phenomenon. From the time FPIs have come in, they bring in money and they take it out. We as an economy have been permitting it the way it is. There are certain countries in the world which permits inflow of funds. When it is an outflow, it is very restricted. We are not being that way. Outflows happen because of multitude of factors. To profit book and show to the parent companies in the other countries is one point. Geopolitical changes. Last year saw elections in around 50 economies, I am told. 3 major countries, at least I know, US, UK and India. With a change in governments, change in policies, change in tariff structures, change in interest rates and the thoughts around it, the rate cuts expected, the geopolitical situations relating to war-torn economies around us, and many of the countries around India becoming bankrupt. So many factors play on it. In all this, what I look at as lessons are 2 things. One is, fundamentally, is our country strong to face such ins and outs? The answer is absolute yes, because we talked a lot about it. Second is, what is the short-term impact of these outflows, and is our country's microstructure tuned to take care of it? Here, if you look at it, when there used to be outflow a few years before, Indian markets will tank. We'll see some index circuits. I do not know whether any of you remember these index circuits. When index reaches a particular percent, the market halts. There have been situations like that when there is a FPI flow. Today it is no longer true. The resilience of Indian markets have improved. When the markets go down, well, there are multiple reasons because of which markets can go up and down. But FPIs taking away money resulting in circuits is no longer true. Because the mutual fund industry has grown so strong, it's able to pick it up. Earlier, somebody need to tell. If the market falls, there's an opportunity to buy. Now nobody needs to tell. Most of the people are already aware of it. So that would be my reaction to your question.
Thank you so much. My name is C.P. Mohan. I used to be Chief General Manager at NABARD, and therefore I have a slight rural bias. It's actually, I won't get this opportunity meeting you, and it's a question and a request. Comes from my current concerns. One is from the microfinance industry, and the other is from these farmer organizations which we have, sprouted up. I'm not sure the social stock exchange is actually leading us anywhere. A friend of mine used to be on the committee. So my question is there anything which we can do for the stock exchange, the social stock exchange, both in the equity side as well as in the philanthropy and as well, whatever it allows. The second is, you mentioned about farmers and other things, the Garib and the another. One of the basic source of finance has become the microfinance industry. And we do not find, I'm on the board of a couple of them, or more of them, we don't see a non-greedy investment flowing into it in the equity in the tier 1 stage. So this is a request to you, whether something can be done on that. and the other is about the social stock exchange. Thank you, sir.
Sorry, sir. On the second question, you made an adjective to an investment. What was that?
No. I don't find any greedy investments coming in, because it's basically the angels and the most of the people who we come across are people who requires huge speed and growth, and that's why one of the reasons
Non-greedy investments.
non-greedy investors. Thank you.
So as far as the first social stock exchange part of it, the way in which the social stock exchange is structured is that I'm talking of technicalities, about listing some zero coupon bonds, where zero coupon bonds will be issued by philanthropists, and those will not qualify for any tax benefit or any CSR benefit, and there will be people who will be taking it. Structurally, it has a problem. If I am a philanthropist who does not want any CSR benefit or tax benefit, why should I come to a platform to give? I have 25 other ways of effectively giving the money to such of those people who I feel that my money should go into. So the rise and detour, as they call it, for a social stock exchange is in the process of getting found. So that makes it have its own set of existentialism questions and therefore a challenge. So, is there a way in which tomorrow my employee feels, wow, I got a bonus, today I want to prove to the world that I am also socially conscious, I want to give 100 rupees for the cause of society, I want to be a good human being, good citizen. Can I use social stock exchange to give this 100 rupees? If that were to be the case, everybody will participate in a social stock exchange. Instead of a philanthropist not having any idea where to put in the money, but he does not want a CSR benefit, does not want any tax benefit, it will be a rare person to find, which all of us are trying to find. That is on that part. On that, the next also the important point is, if I'm not sure what will be the connection of social stock exchange with the microfinance. If there were to be anything, you can please write through KMA to me. More than happy to take it and ready to analyze, and whatever we can do, we will do. As far as investors, I will probably not qualify them as greedy or non-greedy. Why? An investor, the moment you have called him as investor, he is not a philanthropist. Any investment is asking for some return. If the return percentage is going to qualify him as a greedy investor, and the return percentage is going to qualify him as a non-greedy investor, then it becomes a question of perspective. What is the right return you should get? And expecting anything about that right return will be greedy. Expecting anything about below that actually will be foolish. So you should only expect that level. How to find that level? That is a very difficult question. So it becomes an individualistic and perspective matter. But what is more important in what you said is, there should be enough investors who will be ready to finance microfinance stuff so that it will go to Garib and farmers. Honestly, when I look at the way in which the financing capabilities for farmers and Garib from time immemorial, there has been huge number of government-oriented schemes that were happening right from independence days. When I was a young boy, I used to work for State Bank of India. We used to run something called as IRDP. I do not know how many of you remember. I am sure, sir, you will remember. Integrated Rural Development Program. At the cost of time, I would like to tell this. Loan for milch animals was one of the programs there. Means what? You can buy a cow, bank will finance it. What happens? 50% of it will be given as subsidy by the government. So look at it from a bank's perspective. There will be a loan mela, there will be a lot of cows brought there, there will be a lot of agricultural officers, there will be a lot of borrowers, and there will be a mukhya from that village. The cow which will normally be worth enough for 1,000 will be sold for 6,000. Why? There is a cut. And in that 6,000, the moment the debit happens, 3,000 it will become the debit balance because 3,000 has come as subsidy. The remaining 3,000 is to be repaid only if the animal is alive. Fortunately, there is an insurance for that animal. Whether the animal really dies or the animal manages to get a death certificate, 6,000 comes to the credit because the animal is insured for 6,000. So from a situation, this is creating something out of nothing. This is absolute jugaad. Think of it. An animal worth 1,000 rupees was sold for 6,000. That 6,000 rupees animal was insured for 6,000, became a 3,000 liability. The 3,000 liability became an asset of 6,000 the next day. I think you got my answer.
Yes. Animals used to die on Friday, so the insurer doesn't come.
Postmortem was to be done. You know how many postmortems were done? All of us have seen it. I think there lies the answer. It is not any. So, are these people greedy borrowers? Were there any greedy investors? We all know the answers. So, it's a question of intentions. Even today, I feel there are enough number of schemes. Channelizing them becomes difficult because there are a lot of cleanup that has to happen, where every one of us are responsible is minded.
Sir, I have a question. I am a former banker. Gold price has been going up steadily, almost 41% is the rate of increase in gold during the last 1 year. At the same time, the Sensex has come down during the last 3 to 4 months. What do you think the present state of affairs in US and the trade war and the duty structure issues, etc., how is going to further upset in the short-term angle? I'm talking about the 1 year angle. Of course, the long-term angle stories you have given is a very encouraging one. There is no doubt about it. But what do you think? How the investors have to be careful, and what's the way we look forward to this kind of a time of uncertainty? Yes,
I am not able to understand your question. What is the relevance of gold in this?
The price of gold has been going up steadily.
Okay.
And inversely, the stock market prices also has been coming down also. So this has been, lot of central banks have been buying gold in large quantities, and that could be from $2,000 to $2,800 to $2,900 per ounce. The gold has gone up. So, do you think these uncertainties will further increase the price of this kind of unproductive kind of investment, or rather it will be a still negative return to the Sensex related or equity related things in the short term?
Sir, you are putting me in a very dangerous situation. I'll tell you why. Coming into Kerala, if I were to tell gold is an unproductive investment, you don't want me to leave Kerala, I guess. Jokes apart, the price of gold and its movement is dependent on multiple factors, which are in a way different from the factors that impact the stock markets. We are talking about gold at a global level. We are talking about India's stock market. So they are not in any case comparable. They are not in the same pedestal. We are talking about gold prices over a period of time. We are talking about Indian stock market for a shorter time, not comparable. So I will not take that example. If you are talking about uncertainties in the market, the statistical term to refer to uncertainty is volatility. And there are many people in the stock markets who actually love volatility. If the market is stayed, they feel very unhappy. So it is a part of life and it will continue to exist. I would only repeat this portion. Fundamentally, if you feel your country is strong, my humble suggestion is don't go in for short-term directional trading if you are a small investor. That's not your cup of tea. You believe in economy, You believe in fundamental strength, be a long-term investor. For you, any market fall is an opportunity for you to buy you with your excess money a good mutual fund or a bunch of good stocks which you have researched, not your neighbor has told, and get involved into it. And today, no, it is not like that. It is very difficult to understand what stock market trading is. Google's sister is ready to tell you anything that you want. You ask her, she will tell you how to invest, how to not to invest. Please learn, put in some money. See this example I tell, if you were to go and buy a brinjal in the market because your wife had asked for this today's curry for you, you rotate every brinjal 360 degrees 20 times to buy it to see whether there is a black spot. Where that is just 30 rupees per kg, your hard-earned investment. If you want to put, you go on what your neighbor says. And you tell that you don't have time to study in the market, how to invest in stock market. We cannot do that. It is your money and you have really toiled a lot to make that 1 rupee of money with you. So we should clearly educate people. This is exactly what I say. Trade what you understand what you trade. To understand what you want to trade, it is absolutely one click away. Educate yourself and invest. And if people do that, then they are safe. They are not directional traders. If they are investors, blips happening up and down is immaterial so long there is a fundamental strength. That would be my answer, sir.
Sir, myself Sanil Abraham. My question is on AI adoption in stock exchanges. AI adoption in stock exchanges. AI, artificial intelligence. At a time when cyber threat is moving large over the entire financial system, a lot of cyber crimes are happening in India currently. Another part of the question is.
No, sorry. What is the relevance between the cyber crimes and AI?
No, that is my question. How far we are equipped?
So, are you telling that if you adopt AI, the cyber crimes will come down?
No, not that way. How far does the AI go? That's one part. And second part is cyber crimes. And the third part is that when can an investor buy in fractional sort of stocks, fractional stocks?
Great. As far as AI is concerned, see, there will be a lot of technologies coming and a lot of technologies going. When blockchain came, everybody thought a panacea has arrived. We do not know whether it is a panacea. So we should not over-exemplify any specific technology. Today, everybody suddenly feels very fashionable to talk about AI, machine learning and other things. Having said that, there are a lot of great features available which you can use, particularly in a place like stock exchange, through AI. It is just not AI. There are a lot many other developments that have happened. One thing which I always talk about is LLM, large language models, where if you want to put a thick document into the software, it reads it in very short period of time. It is able to analyze it, answer your questions, and also give you ideas and suggestions. So LLM combined with AI could be very useful in analyzing the impact of a regulatory change, what exactly had impacted the market, how to do surveillance, how to identify patterns, how to simplify any work where there is bulky document involved, like a corporate results analysis or a corporate prospectus which has come to you for approval, etc. Exchanges are working in a big, at least my exchange is working in a big way to see how best we can utilize. In some areas we have made progress, in some areas we are yet to. But many a times this AI results in cyber crimes. Using the machine learning AI and whatnot and all the sophisticated tools, as if I recommended a stock, somebody can put across. Or they can troll me in a big way. In 1 minute, 90 to 100 trolls about me can come in public domain, which has actually happened. When you grow, you will have enemies. If you have enemies, people will troll. So there is, for everything, there is a positive side and a negative side. There is a negative side to all these technology developments. Cyber crimes happen. Any crime happens when there is a lack of caution from the victim. You clicking a wrong button, you clicking a wrong link, or you believing some information given to you as truth when it is actually very difficult to believe as truth, leads to cybercrime. whatever you do will always be falling short of a criminal brain's thought process. Why? You are used to thinking within the boundaries of something. A criminal does not have boundaries when he thinks. So he is always far ahead in thinking about a way to defraud you. If you understand that, you need to be extra cautious. That is the one way. The third question was on what, sir? Fractional shares. It requires both statutory and regulatory change. There is already a regulatory thought process on making that happen. If that were to happen, the exchanges will be geared up to manage it in the stipulated timelines.
Next question would be the last question due to paucity of time.
Mr. Ramamurthy, I have been teaching MBA students and engineering students and all sorts of people. I have also done a little bit of work on DeepSeek the moment it came out. Now the funny thing about DeepSeek is it will give you answers that it wants. So more than cybercrime and cyber fraud, I am worried about how the whole world is going to be controlled by someone like Elon Musk or somebody sitting in China. If you ask, I can actually show you, you ask DeepSeek about Arunachal Pradesh, it will say this is a question which I don't want to answer. If you ask about the riots in Hong Kong, they say, I don't want to answer. In the same way, can it not mislead you? I think it's a very difficult area. I don't think anybody can answer what's going to happen. And that's why I think Elon Musk is getting into it in a big way, because everyone wants to control the world. And the easiest way to control the world is through this. AI, yes, AI crime, these are all small things compared to what is going to happen next. When they control us, they are going to totally control us.
Possible, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you everybody for this wonderful question and answer session. Now may I request the President to hand over a token of appreciation and our love from KMA to Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of BSE Limited. Thank you, sirs. May I now request our Managing Committee member, Mr. A.C. Kenai, to propose the vote of thanks.
Respected Chief Guest of the Day, Sri Sundararaman Ramamurthy, Respected President, Program Committee Chair, past presidents, MC members and invited guests. It is a very fantastic session today. We at KMA, Kerala Management Association is honored to have a great personality like Sri Sundararaman Ramamurthy. I think we had a good takeaway today. He started the previous chapter and chapter before the previous chapter, the scenario of our country, and then what is the previous chapter in the stock trading, and what could be the next chapter on what is the protection mechanism of the stock. And he has clearly told that what was the true in the past need not be the true in the future. So that is our little the uncertainty is coming out. But he has hopefully explained the formula how Indian economy can become 52 trillion by 47, crossing the what we expect for 32 trillion by 2047, and what are the activities each and every Indian citizen has to do, or the responsibility to achieve that. And already clearly explained the very important keyword is attitudinal infrastructure. How the employees' attitude will help in contributing the achievement in reaching to that level. Anyway, it was a great session. Sir, we are very honored with your presence here, and I extend warm vote of thanks to you on coming to us. Our president is leading our Kerala Management Association, and every week we have different sessions like this, and I'm extending my thanks to president. And program committee chair, even managing committee also, we used to have a criticism on program committee, but every week he is bringing one and another eminent to eminent personalities every week and enlightening the total crowd of Cochin. And it's a great event, and thank you, our program committee chair, Vice President Mr. Ajay Khalid, for this. And thanks to all past president, MC members, and the distinguished invited guests. Thank you all, and other office bearers, our office staff, and all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before joining us for a networking lunch just outside the hall, would like to remind you about the BSE week. Next week we have is the management week celebrations starting on 17th Monday with the inauguration and the KT Chandy Memorial Lecture, followed by 19th we have Commissioner of Customs Cochin speaking to us, and on 20th we have a Health Awareness Day by Kerala Management Association, and on 21st we have the Women Managers Forum wherein Elizabeth Isaac of Gunam Beauty talking to us. So we have a hectic week ahead. Please do join us for all the 4 programs, and wishing you all the best. Have a safe weekend, have a nice weekend. Enjoy, join us for a lunch just outside the hall. Thank you. Please join us for the lunch which is arranged outside. Thank you.